welcome to my Etsy channel where the primary objective is to help you build a thriving Etsy business. And welcome to another episode of Etsy Shop Critique. If this is your first time visiting my channel and you are thinking of opening an Etsy shop or have one already and want to learn the ins and outs and how to build a successful store from ground up, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. I have tons of free resources that you could use to go ahead and improve the quality of your shop. So let's go ahead and get started with this tutorial or this critique. I'm doing a critique on the store called The Charming Moment. So thank you, Ida, for being so patient for the critique. And let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I do on a critique, I choose a listing. So what I did was I just picked this one here. And this is the actual listing here. Oh, I thought I opened it. So here you go. So the first thing that I always talk about on the critique is the photo, right? Because the photo is what people see first when they're looking for a product. And you're going to have two base customers. You're going to have the customer that's actually looking for a bridal shower invitation. And you're going to have the customer that is not looking necessarily, for some reason, stumble across your product. And they're like, wow, I love this invitation. I do have a whatever invitation coming soon. I might as just go ahead and get it now because I love it so much. So you're going to have those two potential customers, and you want to market to both of them because you have the one that wants to buy now and you have the one that necessarily wasn't going to buy now, maybe in a couple months or a couple weeks. However, because your photo is so amazing, so compelling, so beautiful, they decided to just go ahead and make the purchase. So that's the first thing you have to realize. Another thing is when you shop online and you have an e-commerce store like Etsy, all you have to go by is photo. So the photo has to be very nice. It has to be cropped in a complimentary way. It has to show the product in a good way. It should show the product that the customer has no confusion and truly understands what they're buying. And you should be able to showcase the product in different ways to kind of convince the customer to buy. Now, in your store, I think that you did everything that I just mentioned. You did a really good job. I know that you're using mock-ups, and that's what I love about digital prints. When you sell digital goods, you could buy these mock-ups, put them in there, and they're so nice versus when you have an actual tangible product that sometimes you have to take the picture yourself. Not only do you have to take the picture, but you also have to manipulate how that picture looks, the background, and make sure that the picture stands out. So in your scenario, I think that you did a really good job. I like the fact that you put multiple photos. You just didn't leave it at one photo. I like the fact that you have someone holding it. That shows this, it almost shows like the size of it. So people do like to see that. And then I like the fact that at the end you have like the instructions that, hey, this is an edible file, just to let you know. So that's perfect. I think you did a really good job. I like the fact that all your photos have the same size, right? Sometimes you'll go through people's images and one size is huge, then the next one is big and you can see the cutoff, and then the next one is like in a different landscape, and the next one is portrait again. So it just makes it so much easier. It's visually appealing when you have it all the same size, the same color, the same scheme, and you did a really good job with that. So in the photos, I really don't have a lot to say. My only suggestion would be at the end of at the end of the template one, I will add an additional call to action, and I would tell the customer, hey guys, click below to learn more about this product, or hey guys, click below to view matching items, or whatever you want to put, but kind of like tell them to click below. If you do that, what's going to happen is that they're going to click, they're going to read more about your product, they're going to stay longer in your shop, and the longer they stay in your shop, the more of a commitment they might make to go ahead and purchase from you. So you want to keep them longer in your shop. So that would be my only suggestion for your photos, is basically adding some sort of call to action to keep them longer, and therefore the chances, or from them buying, are going to increase. Now, the second thing I normally talk about is SEO. As you might know, SEO stands for search engine optimization, and it's basically how you optimize a page to meet the requirements that Yahoo and Bing and all these large search engines like Xe as well, Pinterest is a search engine, how they find particular items by using keywords. Now, when you have an Xe store, there's a whole bunch of different factors that determines whether your listing will appear in the first page of Xe. Um, and the many factors are: is your keyword in your title, is your keyword in your listing description, are there additional keywords in throughout your listing description, are you using a keyword that you could rank organically, so therefore when somebody uses that keyword, that is no advertising, you appear in the first page of Xe, or are you using a keyword that is too broad that everybody and anybody's using, so therefore instead of you being on the first page of Xe, now you're buried down on the 15th page of Xe or the 100th page, page of Xe. So that's the different key factors that play vital for SEO to kind of like put your listing on page 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, etc. Another thing is the history of the listing, how long you've been open as a shop, how long has that listing been open, do you run Facebook ads, or do you run Xe ads? All these things determine where your listing will appear in the search results on Xe. So I did an audit, and any tools that I talk about on this tutorial, they're going to be right below this video. There's going to be a little box that you click on, and I actually have tons of resources that you guys could use, from taxes to buying banners to buying mockups to learning how to other my top videos, etc. So you'll have a lot of resources if you click below. So looking at this actual listing, what I notice is that you're using a lot of keywords that not only are some are broad, which means that you're not targeting your audience, and then a lot of them, majority of them, you need to remove because they're too oversaturated. A lot of people are using, so therefore it's going to be really hard for you to rank organically for them. And if you were to run a Xe ad, your cost per click is going to be very high due to the fact that you are competing with such a large amount of people trying to use that same keyword, that the charge will be a little bit higher than normal. So for instance, if you were to see the keyword, let's take this one, bridal invitation, and you were to go to Xe.com, right, and you type it in, this is just an easier way to kind of get the idea of what I'm saying. You're going to notice that there's 116,000 people that are currently using that same tag or that same keyword. So therefore, you're competing with that many people. A lot of people, or a lot of Xe sellers, we make the mistake that we think that if the keyword is being used over and over and over, or it's a high search keyword or volume, that's the keyword you want to use. In the SEO world, it doesn't work that way. You don't want to use that keyword because that means that that's your competition. That means there's 160,000 other listings competing for that same keyword. So therefore, instead of you appearing here on the first page of Xe, you're going to be like, somewhere stuff buried down to, sorry about that, buried down on page 2, 3, 4, 5, anywhere. I mean, you could be all the way at the end. Who knows? It's because remember what I said earlier, it's just based on the history of your store, how many people like your store, how long you've been open. There's so many different variables that determines if you're going to be on the first page or not. Also, if you do the ads, like I said, you're going to pay a little bit more due to the fact that there's a lot of people at the current moment trying to compete for that same keyword. So these are things that you have to keep in mind because it definitely will affect your sales. And this is when people say, I just don't, I'm not getting the traffic or I'm not getting the sales. And I have not, like you have, like yourself, you have beautiful products. But this is particularly the reason why. It's not so much because you don't have so many items. I do recommend adding a little bit more, but it's not necessarily that. It's that you're competing in a oversaturated market. I'm in the wedding field as well, and it's already oversaturated on Etsy. So therefore, when you are in the market that is oversaturated, everybody is using it, right? You have to be you have to do the diligence of using Etsy rank and coming up with keywords that you could actually rank for. And it's gonna take time sometimes because when you are in oversaturated market, it's not that simple. You just can't say, okay, well, I think this is a brighter invitation. I use that one. Bright invitation. I use that one. Pink. When you do that, it's just that's your target audience, which is a great job that you're doing. However, because the keyword is oversaturated now, your market now you're kind of like competing with so many people. Is really really hard for you to win that keyword over. So when you use keywords like this, it doesn't mean that you can't necessarily, let's say, win, right? It doesn't mean that you can't necessarily get that keyword or rank for that keyword. It just means that you're going to work a lot harder, right? That's why you see some stores that have like 20 products and they make a killing. And that's because they're on a specific niche that's not as competitive. So therefore, they stand out. But when you're in a niche that's very competitive, it's almost like the opposite. You have to work like twice as hard to get some type of traction and to also get sales. So going back to the keywords, you will have to just go back, do the research, redo your keywords. What I would concentrate on doing is long tail keywords. And long tail keywords basically is exactly like you could use this one here, but just add an additional keyword in front. So you could say, so yours had a hint of pink, right? So you could say pink bridal invitation. This way, you could find long tail keywords that you could potentially rank for versus the one that you're using now that is like is too much. So even that, look at how many people are using. So this wouldn't be a good keyword either. You want to stick with anything that's 10,000 and less. However, if you had to change it, I would say change it to this one, right? Because you have more of a chance with this keyword than you did with the other one. So then I would just keep doing that. I would keep doing that and then go to the Etsy rank and use their keyword tool. I will also use minimalist because yours looks very clean and simple. So I would use that word, like just stuff like that. Just start describing your products and you start finding stuff. So see, the minimalist brighter invitation actually works. And so that's one good keyword to use. And that's all you have to do is just think about long tail keywords that you could use to describe your products and then do the research and see if you find some that are under 10,000. Now, 816 is not too bad, right? Like that's your competition. I wouldn't go below 500 listings. So if you ever find a keyword that says 10 listings have that, don't use that one either. Because what happens is that when you have keywords like that, that means that a lot of people are not technically searching for that product in that type of form. So that means that no one's searching for that product. Let's say minimalist bright invitation. If it had like 10 listings, no one's really looking for that product. That just means that someone added 10 of them without doing the research, right? So you don't want to do that because then it's almost like the opposite. Now you're using keywords that no one's looking for. So therefore, you're not getting traffic either. So you want to have, keywords that are, I would say, I have keywords that are 800, 900. So I would say no less than 500 and no more than 10,000 listings as your competition. So therefore, you have a fighting chance of getting found organically, and also when you run an ad, it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg, and then you'll start seeing more impressions. You start increasing your views, and make sure that you stick with the keywords that describe exactly what you sell. That way, you are targeting your audience versus just targeting anybody. I'll give you an example. So instant download is targeting anybody, right? I know that you do have a product and it's instant download, but you don't want to use that keyword. If you were to put it here, you're going to see that instant download, you're going to get pretty much everything. So you're going to get a print, you're going to get this vector file, you're going to get this, I guess this thing here, the SVG. You're going to get all this stuff. You see how now It's not targeted towards someone that's looking for something bridal. So therefore, you don't want to use that keyword. That's not a proper keyword for your store, because then a lot of times if you use the wrong keyword, that's when you get people that say, well, I get a lot of views, right? And I get a lot of impressions when no one's buying. That's because they're using, like, they sell bridal stuff and they just put the word wedding. So now they're showing it to everybody, but maybe everybody's not looking for a bridal invitation. They're looking for something else, like a wedding dress or a wedding ring or wedding accessories or something additional. So you have to be very specific with the keywords of what you're selling by adding color, shape, and etc. But you don't want to use keywords that are not geared in describing your item. Describing your item is the most important. So you don't want to use like keywords like wedding, party, instant download, digital good. You don't want to do that. That's too broad. You want to go to bridal invitation, pink bridal invitation, minimalist bridal invitation, um, black and white bridal invitation. Um, if these are flowers, maybe, and I think you have one like that, flower invitation. So maybe put flower bridal invitation, right? Because the one that you had currently also is oversaturated in the sense, you see, it's a lot of listings. So maybe you would put, let's try it, pink flower invitation, and then sometimes add an S, make it plural. So that's a little bit better than the one that you currently have, the pink flower. The flower invitation, because that one got 31,000, but then flower invitation got 85,000. You see how much? It's like double the traffic. So, I would do. You could also do this, like kind of play with adding an S at the end. So pink flower invitations, and then kind of see what comes up with that. Oh, it's kind of the same result. So that's all you have to do. Keep doing that. It's going to be a little tedious in our situation because we are in an oversaturated market. So therefore, it's a little hard to find keywords sometimes, but it's not impossible. I mean, on my wedding shop, on a slow month, I still make like 1,800. And that's off wedding season. And in wedding season, I make anywhere from, in that shop, because it's only digital prints, I make anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000. So um, it does work. It's not impossible. I started that shop a year ago, so it does work. You just got to do the research on the keywords. Once you have the new keywords, all you have to do is go back to your listing, right? And replace them. Now with the new XC like guidelines or um, recommended changes, that what they want you to do is use the main keyword here and kind of write a short description of what you're selling. So you can always put, let's say this was the keyword orchard bridal shower. This is the instant download that you could edit with Adobe Reader, and that's it, like something short like that. Now I've kept mine with all the keywords. It's just best practice. It doesn't mean that if you don't have the keywords, or if you do have the keywords, you're not going to be found. It's just that they want to make it easy to read. Like they don't want people to see so many keywords right here and be confused on what they're buying. So they're trying to simplify stuff though, so the customer, you meet both requirements. You're still meeting SEO requirement, but then you're also making it natural for the customer to read it, and that's what they're trying to do. So it's up to you what you want to do. I kept mine the old way. It works fine with me. One thing that I will say is that if this is your SKU number, I wouldn't put it there. I put mine here because I use that as a space for another keyword. But if you want to keep it, you can. It's not the end of the world. I would just wanted to suggest that to you. What you also want to do is, if let's say this is your main keyword, you want to have it here and you want to have it here in your first 160 characters. This section right here is what customers see if they find your listing on Google or like Bing or Yahoo. And this is how it looks. So this is the Google preview right here. And you see how it says this listing is a digital. You see, so you have to have this keyword right here. Get this orchid bridal shower for your next party, and have a really good caption. That way, when a person finds you on Google, they're tempted to click. So it's called meta description. It shouldn't be over 155 characters. And you have to make it very enticing for the person to want to click there, to visit your shop, and hopefully buy from you. So I recommend working on that, because, right now it's not enticing for someone to click on. And make sure that you use, like you did, so you did a good job here, all your keywords on the bottom as well. And one thing that I want to emphasize is that you put the main keyword here, and you put the other keywords in your listing description, and that's an on-page SEO factor. So make sure that you do that. Um, so the next thing I want to talk about is listing description, and basically it's just how it sounds. It's the description of what you're selling, and you should include everything and anything the customer will have a question or doubt about, right? So you want to include what you're selling, how to order, the size, the shape, the color, what's included, shipping policy, return policy, if you have matching items. And you should also include at the bottom of this page a backlink. This is a backlink. I'll show you my store. So a backlink is basically a link on the bottom that when they go all the way to the bottom, instead of clicking the back arrow and then leaving your shop, they click there and it takes them back to your main shop. That's what you want, because you want to keep them in your store. So I would just, all you have to do is take this here, just where it says moment, take right here down, copy that, and put it on the bottom of your listing description. So when they get down here, they go back. But I think that you did a really good job with your listing description. You gave it your introduction to it. You broke it into sections. I think this is so important to do headings, or like how I have mine, that I have like little emojis like this. I think because it makes it easier for the person to kind of find where they want to read. Maybe they just want to know what's included, or maybe they want to know important information about it, right? So it's really nice that you have it set up that way. It's easier to read also, because if you have all this information in a huge block, um, for the visual aspect of it, people won't read it most likely. You're gonna notice also, Ida, a lot of people unfortunately don't read your listing description. They buy something, and then later on they're messaging you thinking, oh, I thought you were gonna send me something tangible through mail. So you're gonna start noticing that people don't read. So the benefit of having a really in-depth full description is for two benefits. One, because people don't read, and if in the future, God forbid, somebody open a case against your shop, you are covered because you did an exceptional job explaining what they're buying. And two, it avoids people messaging you and asking you questions about what you what this listing comes included with, or shipping policy, or how to use it, because you have everything already noted in the listing description. So it does help a lot having it. Plus, it builds credibility, and the customer will feel like, wow, this person has taken time to really, you know, include all the information, and it just makes you look more professional. So, in my opinion, I think that you have done a really excellent job with this. So I don't think that you need to do any changes at the current moment with your listing description, with the exception of adding maybe a backlink to your page, homepage, and maybe adding another link. Oh, never mind. This is what I was gonna say. What I would do so this could stand out, maybe put like an emoji in here, like a little arrow pointing. Like you could also do that with your mouse. So if you with your mouse, if you just basically go like this with your not mouse but with your keypad and go like that, that's gonna stand out. You see how you could just add that to your listing, and that way it's almost like you're pointing to that. It's like almost like a form of call to action. So you did good with that. And the last thing that I talk about is the curation of your shop, and the curation of your shop is just the overall look. Do you have a banner? You do. Do you have a logo? I love your logo, by the way, because I think it's really adorable, and I like the little flower in the back. I think it's made really, really nice. I like the name of your shop. I like the fact that you have a nice tagline. You have where you're from. You have a photo, and it's you could see the person's face, right? I could see your face. It's so important. I think a lot of people put a really bad photo of themselves, or they put like a profile photo like to the side or something. You can't really see the face. So I think that the fact that you have it like straightforward, I think is more inviting. Um, you do have an about me section, which is great, and you talk about who you are and you're passionate about it. So that's really, really good because people buy into that. I'm an emotional buyer myself. So if I read a story and it's a great one, I might just choose your store from another store because people want to buy from people that they connect, right? Especially when there's a small business. You have your Pinterest account set up. That's good. If you have additional social media or website, make sure you link them. The only thing about the About Me section that I will recommend is maybe putting a photo of yourself working, or creating your products, or maybe like just your work, like if you have an office or a desk, something like that, or maybe a picture of you and your family. That way people could connect with you. There are people that don't care and won't look at that section, and there are people that will look at everything from your review. I mean, I've gotten messages from people, that they read my story and they're like, and I'm like, wow, people do read. So, um, so make sure that if you have the time to do that, do it because it is worth it, and you'll get those customers here and there that will pay attention to details like that. Um, the curation of the shop also includes like the colors. Does If I was to go to Etsy, does this listing remind me of that one? Would I say, oh, this is from, the Charming Moment, that, this is the same design? Yes, it does, because you have curated the same colors, the same background, the same product. So you've done a really good job with that. I don't know if you did that on purpose. Maybe you have an eye for graphic or an eye for visual, but you've done a really good job with that, which means that your everything flows together. Everything looks good. So overall, I think your biggest challenge is just the SEO and possibly adding a few more products. I'm not going to tell you that you have to add thousands of products to make money. You could add more. You could add like under 100 and still make a lot of money. It really depends on the keywords you use, and it depends on how beautiful your products are. The more beautiful you could showcase them, the likelihood of somebody buying is going to increase, and the quality obviously of your work should be really good. But I think that you have an eye for that. I could see it. I mean, my store when I first started was so ugly, because I wasn't creative at all with the visual aspect of it. So I was all over the place. My pictures were dark and not cropped, in a complimentary way. And I didn't know about mock-up because there was not really that many Etsy channels out there that talked about that. So, and that's the main reason why I started my Etsy channel. But I think you've done an exceptional job. So this is my critique. Now, one thing, I won't say that you're doing this, but one thing that I always tell new Etsy sellers is that because you're not making sales, you don't necessarily have to put oh, hey, I'm open shop, I'll give you a discount. Because a lot of times the reason why you're not making sale is either your products are not good, which in your situation that's not the case, but your products are not good, or your SEO is not good, or your product is good but your photo sucks, which in your case that's not the case either. But it's one of those situations, right? Like, or you're not using the right SEO. In your situation, it's just the SEO, right? You're not using the right keywords because you're using you were using the right keywords. You're just using keywords that are oversaturated and going to be really hard for you to rank for. So therefore, you need to find keywords that you can actually rank for. But these are my suggestions for your store. I hope that they become useful. Guys, leave a comment below with any recommendations you guys have. If you agree with everything I said, leave a comment saying I agree below. Would love to hear from you guys. And if this is your first time visiting my channel and you have not done so, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. That way you can stay updated with the latest videos that I upload. So thank you guys for watching. Until the next Etsy review, have a wonderful, wonderful day.